Yeah.
Late LK at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people? Today, coming with another wonderful episode of That's Right, Doppio Dope. You getting hit with man, y'all getting hit with a whole bunch of cool stuff. All right, we be giving y'all dope stuff. But before we get started, I have a young gentleman right here. All right,
Don't
Ace
lie.
Pilot. You know what I'm
I mean,
saying?
I tell
Man
you
of
this
mystery,
all the time. I'm
Clement
not.
Bryant.
Nah. See. I think you started to get the deal, but no more lying. But seriously, what's good though?
Chilling, man. So okay, today, guys, big shout out to Patreon supporters, super chatters, everybody who's sharing, liking the comment, all that. The reason I'm trying to get past y'all quick because we got some fun stuff to get into. Originally, we were going to talk about Batwoman. All right, Batwoman. We know last year, Ruby Rose left the production, and then they got Javicia Leslie, and we were like, we don't know what it's going to look like. And I said, hey, I saw the trailer for season 1. I didn't like it. I did not watch. But now, since we got a brand new Batwoman, I'm going to give it a shot. So today we were supposed to be like, yo, let's talk about the first episode. But the rap.
Bro. Like
the rap said, hey, I'm going to make sure y'all got some good juicy morsels of information to talk about. Because the rap decided, Clement sent me the tweet. Break it down for him.
I mean, they went in and was like, the headline was, I'm gonna repeat it because I was offended. Like, let me find it real quick. But I just remember being like, oh, they tagged the big thing is that they tagged her in the tweet.
Yep.
And the tweet is #TV ratings at Javicia Leslie's Batwoman debut can't hold a candle with Ruby Roses. Which I'm like, yo. I'm like, that is offensive. Like, it's not the actors' fault that the ratings were what they were.
Yeah.
And the one thing is that the article goes into that football dominated everything last night. Like, yes. I was working on stuff and I saw like football, having an effect on the stuff that I was working on. So like, I was like, okay, of course it's going to be like that. But they to straight up name the actress in her tweet and be like, you're comparing her to Ruby Rose. One, is offensive because it's like you're comparing women together in a superhero role when everyone's supposed to be like encouraging the fact of this is her first episode as Batwoman.
Also, it's not a one-to-one comparison because Ruby Rose didn't debut against Monday Night Football, did she? I mean, that's Sunday Night Football, did she?
I don't think she did.
No. So this isn't a one-to-one. I don't think she debuted on Sunday Night Football. But continue.
But no, I was like, that's a little cast. And like, so I look at the guy. His name is Tony Maglio, and I was like, okay, maybe knowing what I know about working in social, like maybe he didn't write the tweet. So I investigated a little bit more. And I was like, okay, he didn't write the tweet, but his replies of people calling him out for the article doesn't help his case.
Nah.
And so, because when you go in the article's headline is a completely different thing than the actual tweet headline itself, right?
Yeah.
So when they did that, I was shocked. Like, when you go into the article, it says Javicia Leslie Batwoman debut plummets 80% in ratings for Ruby Roses. That headline is still somewhat problematic, but it's not as problematic as the tweet.
But at least it's just factual and it's not blaming. It's kind of blaming. It's kind of putting it on her shoulders. And I'm going to tell you the reason why that's a problem in a second. But I wanted to throw up. Oh, go ahead.
Let's be honest. We both know why that's a problem.
Yeah.
So, and why they did that.
All right. So original air date of episode 1 was October 6, 2019. So if we go back to October 6, 2019, okay, that was a Sunday. So it was a Sunday. So it probably did go up against Sunday Night Football. Sunday Night Football. The only difference is you're talking about January football and October football.
Bingo.
Very big difference.
Very big. Very big.
Come on, man. It's January. You know the deal. We're starting to make Super Bowl predictions.
Yep.
October, you can still flub a game or two and still make the playoffs. Come on, man. Right. It's not the same. If she would have debuted in January against the playoffs, that'd have been fine. But it's not a one-to-one comparison. Also, let's not forget the absolute trash bag that everybody called season 1. Not because of Ruby Rose, just because of everything together. Now, all of that bad mojo sits on season 2, episode 1.
Right.
So you're talking about someone who has a fresh slate with no history, as opposed to someone who's supposed to essentially save the franchise after it's been ran into the ground.
I mean, that's the thing, and that's why it's like,
on, man.
We're gonna get into it. So it's like it's more than just Javicia Leslie can't open the show.
Yeah,
because like, the show didn't really do the show. The show opened strong, but like as you got through the rest of the season, it was like it kind of felt stagnant in a way, right? And I dropped off, and I came back in like the last episode, and like, but I don't even remember that. I had to like really like after this episode, after I watched season 2, episode 1, I had to go back and I'm like, oh, this is everything that happened. So like, but none of that is Javicia's fault. None of it.
Thank you.
None of that. None of that. Javicia is coming in, and to the credit, we'll get into this later. I thought the story around Ryan Wilder is more purposeful than Kate Kane's story. Like, even though that Kate Kane related more to Alice and her sister, I think because they're sisters, I think that gives her a personal story. But the way that Ruby approached the role really didn't show that. Whereas they did a good story, a good way of being like, okay, Alice's Wonderland gang is responsible for why Ryan Wilder's adopted mother is dead. And so she has a reason to do it. And the way that Javicia approaches is a completely different way than what Ruby did.
And actually, my issues with Batwoman after I watched the premiere, it's actually none of my issues really land on Javicia. There's like one thing that like I just thought was funny because I was like, what? But besides that, all these issues are issues that were going on before, like regardless of who was in that suit, those issues would exist when I get to my review. But the rap is straight dirty. The rap has always been questionable, and I'll say that for me, these are my words, my thoughts. The rap has always been questionable to whack. But this joint is straight foul.
Like, I'm like, and the thing is, they put it behind the Rap Pro, which means you need a subscription, but I have a way of seeing what they wrote. So, wait, they might have stopped it, but like, it's still, but like the fact that you're like calling out the actress in your tweet, like on social, what happens is when you get ratio, that's a bad thing, right? Yeah. It's like you'll have like 1,000 replies to like 500 retweets, so like, something's bad. Yeah, and I saw across the tweet.
Right now, we got 6 retweets, 260 quote tweets, which means it's probably not good. Because I'm pretty sure those quote tweets, if I was to click into them, it's not good. But shouts to my boy Randy SO725. We down, but he said there's nothing micro about the regression here.
I mean, that's my point. Like, and that's the thing I was going to get into. Like, let's be honest. Exactly why
Javicia jumped in this joint. I didn't know that.
That was my next point. It was like Javicia goes because they could care less. I was like, yeah, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly right. Wow. And like, and also I'll tell you, I worked on God Friend of Me, right? So I like, I used to have to like follow.
Which was a cute show. It was a cute show.
It was a good show. And so I used to be like Javicia. I was like, oh, Javicia being Batwoman. I was like, okay, cool, because it's going to bring a new level of grit that we don't have with Batwoman, which is why I was like really happy for her to get the role. So when I would be tweeting and stuff like that, and she jump in and like, she has no problem standing up for herself, which is why it's like I expected her to at least say something, but it's like this is kind of, you know me, I try to keep things positive. I try to like see both sides of it, business and fan side, but this is like, speaking as a professional social media guy, and someone as just a fan and someone who used to be entertainment journalist, I'm like, ooh, that's rough.
All right, so check this. One of the people that quote tweeted said, "Hey, Tony Maglio, you real racist for this." So he comes back and says, "I'm real reporting real ratings that have plenty of real context. You think I care which Batman does better in Nielsen ratings? But cool on you for putting that totally responsible-ish out to your 35,000 followers." Now, here's the thing, Mr. Tony. Here's the thing. Here's why you're dumb. Because if you didn't care which Batwoman it was, you wouldn't have compared them in your title. The rap wouldn't have compared them in the tweet. And I haven't even gotten to the article yet, but I'm pretty sure you compared them there. So if you don't care which one, then why don't you stick to the acting, the directing, the set design, and all that, the costuming? Why don't you stick to that? Because when I get into my review of this episode, that's what I'm on. Why don't you get into the fight choreography? Why don't you get into the lighting of sets? Now, this is just kind of like a thing CW does. But why don't you just get into that? You compared them. Don't throw this on Miss T Free or whoever she is. You know what I'm saying? Don't throw that on her. You compared them. Bro, no whack stuff going to compare somebody and be like, nah, I'm real reporting real.
Like, and I'm following the joint through my phone. I'm the short app on my phone. I'm like, the dude's not helping his case, and I was just like, why is this the way it is, right?
Yo, they came at her for no reason.
No reason at all. Like,
no reason at all. And you could have just been like, hey, it had a slow start, ratings didn't do well, but you know what I'm saying? Like, a real article is, well, actually it's a non-article, because the article is like, duh. The real article is, or the real headline is, Batwoman stumbles against Sunday Night Football, as did everyone. You know, or maybe like superheroes can't combat football or something like that. Something that's like more playful or something like that, but not a situation where you throw it on the actress as if this is. White people do this to black people all the time. Y'all ruin the show because it was whack, it wasn't well put together, it wasn't nobody good at acting. The villain was a piece of crap the whole time. And I'm seeing it because I watched episode 1 where they had to carry all that stupid mess through from season 2 that I'm watching from season 1. Had to watch all that. Then you bring in a black person because now you need a scapegoat. All right, we ran this concept in the ground. It could have been dope. We made it whack. We ran it in the ground. So let's hire this black woman so when it comes through on season 2 and it's not doing well, we can say, oh, well, Javicia couldn't cut it. No. I watched that episode. I watched season 2 premiere, and we will get into the review later. But like I said, none of the issues that I have with the show are Javicia's fault.
And I'm just like, we can say this and we can move on to review. I was like, I think the rap has to be very careful, and like I'm saying this on like knock on wood, because social media is a very precarious thing these days, right?
Yeah.
Especially with Twitter. Twitter is not a platform for context at all. So it's like Twitter, you have to be super, super literal. And I'm a literal person, but like you have to be super literal, because if not, it's very easy for someone to take it and twist your meaning of your tweet. And I think like whoever is running their social media needs to really think about that, because this is also technically a press issue, where if they have to go to a press junk in the future after COVID, and then you're going to be like, oh yeah, we're not going to admit the rap. And why? Oh, because of that tweet that went out.
Yeah, because trust me, I'd be like, nope, you can't come through. Because like, have have I dogged out people on this show? Yeah, but I haven't gone in on like making something someone's fault though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is definitely racially motivated. Now, of course, when it comes to Tony's types, I'm pretty sure unless someone's burning a cross, it's not racist. But no, even this titling is racist. In his article, he goes through and says, Javicia Leslie's Batwoman. Oh, I didn't know she was the producer, the showrunner, the director. Oh, see, like when Tyler Perry says Tyler Perry's movie, blah, 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 it's really Tyler Perry's because he wrote it, he directed it, he paid for it. This is not Javicia Leslie's Batwoman. It's, hold up, who was the showrunner? Some white lady. What's her name? Oh, man. I'll pull this joint up in a second. But anyway, it's not Javicia Leslie's Batwoman.
Like
you know, what is it? Carolyn Dries. She's the showrunner. I could see if you said Carolyn Dries' Batwoman can't survive a season 2 or something like that.
Greg Berlanti's. It's like
or Greg Berlanti. Or maybe DC's Batwoman can't cut it or something, or something like that. But Javicia Leslie, like she's, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, like,
come on. We already knew that the ratings would be low because it's up against Sunday Night Football, real Sunday Night Football in January, not the stuff where people are like tangentially interested. It's October. I'll watch, but I'm not pressed. Let's be for real. Also, let's not act like Javicia Leslie isn't getting the same type of hate that my girl on Star Trek Discovery got for being on Star Trek Discovery and being the lead.
Right.
Like, come on now.
Another fan I know really well, and like that is the thing. And so like, and the whole thing with Sonequa was like, okay, you're at Star Trek, and everybody in Star Trek, anybody who knows Star Trek and knows IDIC, right?
Yeah.
Infinite diversity, infinite combinations. That is like a thing that is like, okay, cool. So we should have no issue with a black woman being the lead of the show. None.
Yeah.
And that became an issue. The fact that you had Giorgio as a captain became an issue. When I'm like, okay, does not anybody remember Janeway? Like, come on. Like, so that's my issue with a lot of it. And that's my issue with a lot of like fandoms that say, okay, a woman can't do X, a woman can't do Y. And I'm like, are you sure about that? Because maybe you're most likely wrong. And maybe you're being toxic. It's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
Tony is whack all through this article. So, all right, the headline, of course, is the big Javicia Leslie's Batwoman debut plummets 80% in ratings from Ruby Roses. Immediate comparing them. But then in the small text, once we get to the article, but no one stood a chance against Brady versus Breeze on Fox. Maybe that's more important. Maybe the fact that we're getting into Super Bowl, like playoff Super Bowl time, that more people are interested in what's going on in American football than Batwoman. But fine. Also, that their debuts were not 1-to-1 ratio. You're talking about a fresh slate as opposed to a show that's been ruined by whackness, and now somebody's trying to save it. Like, come on. And then, once again, you come further and said, she debuted as the Cape Crusader on CW's Batwoman last night, but her start didn't shine nearly as bright a bat signal as Ruby Roses. So once again, you compare her twice before I get in 3 sentences? You done compared them twice?
Right.
Really though? And then go back to Sunday primetime was dominated by Fox's Tampa Bay versus New Orleans Saints. So what is it? Is it that Javicia isn't as good as Ruby Rose? Or is it football? You don't even know. Right. So you and your schizophrenic article writing self decided to not only be biased, but then also carry over that racist bias into your tweet and then defend it like you ain't whack. Bruh, this is, I try not to say trash because I think trash is overused. I do.
I'm not gonna say trash, but I'm gonna be a little bit more.
This is trashy.
I'm not even gonna. I'm gonna be a little bit more curt and a little bit more reserved in my reaction. Is just being like, that ain't it, Chief. But let's get to the review. I know you got a lot to talk about. You had some joints to talk
about. And Eon001 said, Hitflix says Ruby Rose was being carried by Arrow in the whole Arrowverse. True that. And then Eon001 says, exactly, the journalist played himself saying he didn't care, some passive aggressive ish. Yeah, thank you. He corny for that. Like, he mad corny for that joint. But
like,
all right, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say maybe they did it because they're trying to get clicks to the article. That's always thing. Sensationalism.
Yeah, but ain't nobody going to sign in and pay for your whack article. Yo, the rap has always been funny style, but yeah, they on the hit list from now on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. For me, you on the hit list. You whack. But all right, so as far as the episode last night, you know what I'm saying? Last night. How are you feeling about the premiere of Batwoman?
I mean, I think it feels like a step up. It feels like because the lead actress is stronger than Ruby was, and it seems like she's more she wants to be there, whereas Ruby, like, for the first episode she felt like it, but then as the season went on, it kind of went the other way. It feels like there's a renewed energy in the show. And I like how, like, I'm happy that they resolved the whole Tommy Elliott is Bruce Wayne storyline. Like, I was hoping that wasn't going to go all season, and I'm happy that kind of was like resolved in the premiere. And I like what Javicia brings to the role. It feels like the attitude that Batwoman should have, and it feels like there's like it feels like they're happier about it in a way, even though they're acting about it. It feels like you can tell like the difference between Ruby and Javicia's approach to it. And I'm not comparing them. It has nothing to do with the race. It's just like their approaches are way different, and I prefer Javicia's approach. And I don't know, I liked it. I really liked how everything kind of flowed together.
For me, when I watched this show, it was actually, I almost thought about turning it off around halfway through, quarter way through, or whatever, because I realized in general, I don't really like the way CW shows are made. And the only two CW shows I watch are All American and Black Lightning, which if you look at them, you're like, this doesn't belong on CW. Like, because the way they're made, it's not made like Nancy Drew or any of the Arrowverse shows, or they're not made like I don't know, any of those kind of teen-ish drama kind of shows. They're not made like that. They're not lit like that. They're not set like that. They don't open up, do establishing shots, stuff like that I just don't like. And so that, just the main atmosphere around it, I didn't like. It seemed cheap to me when I was watching it. Then, of course, since I'm dropping in, I didn't watch season 1 at all. When I'm coming in, I realized quickly the villain, homegirl is chewing up so much scenery.
Like, you talking about Alice?
Yeah. Oh, she hamming it up. The director must have said, ham it up. Because she is hamming it up. I was like, yo, yeah.
Like, Rachel, I think her last name was, I can't pronounce her last name. It's like, I'll try it. It's like Sakarson. Like, she was like the best part of season 1. And she continues. Yeah, like, it's like she's doing like, it feels like to me, and I'm gonna say this, but it's like, because I'm trying to figure out who I can compare it to for as like what her approach is. It feels like she's taking the Heath approach to the Joker as she's doing to Alice.
Yes.
Pick it up. Get what I say down.
The problem with that is that those CW sets, the CW lighting, it just looks.
I get you.
Now, because now that we've been watching shows, and this goes into my next thing that kind of rubbed me wrong, this is a black woman being written by a white woman. Now, I know that there is at least one black staff writer on the show, but staff writers don't always get input into the episodes. A lot of times they're there to bounce off ideas and this, that, and the third, and maybe all their ideas don't always make it. The person that wrote this episode is also the showrunner. She's a white woman. And after watching shows, Carolyn Dries, or Dries, I don't know, excuse me, Dries, something like that. Dries. But after watching shows like Watchmen, after watching Lovecraft Country, stuff like, I can tell. I can tell when we're not in control of our narrative. I can tell. It's just a stark difference. Now, I know you're going to say, oh, but that's HBO, and this is... I'm not talking about the money in the episode. I'm talking about the way the person speaks and how they address issues in their life. And it was just very... It came off very LA, Hollywood, white liberal-ish to me. So I was just like, it didn't seem sincere. Then, of course, this is a DC show. So I'm like, yo, where the fights? The fights didn't really do it for me. And the thing that upset me there is I've seen the choreography from the first 2 seasons, which were hot, of Arrow. Where are those people at? Where are those people at? Whoever choreographed those fights, where are they at? Because I know you know people that could choreograph dope fight scenes. So why are we getting what we got last night?
I see where you're going.
I was like, yo, we've seen some dope fight. Even later after season 2, was it season 3? The sword fighting with Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul, however you want to say it. The sword fights. Come on, man. You can't do my girl like this after we've had some dope fight scenes.
Right, I feel you.
Come on. Then now on a stylistic side, Javicia's lace front, I was like, it was kind of disturbing to me. But that's probably because they don't have a sister in hair and makeup. They ain't hook her up right. You know what I'm saying? And then Luke Fox, I don't know why he looked like a little boy behind the desk. Like it looked like his suit was too big or something. But that's small stuff. That's just me nitpicking because I didn't like the episode. But yeah, the biggest thing is the fight scenes weren't there when I know they're capable. Also, I could tell this was not written by our language, either black man or woman. That's just not how we talk. They tried to have 2 moments with her where it was very noticeable. The moment when she was with the parole officer or social worker, whichever, and then the moment in the with Luke Fox and the other young lady, I can't remember her name, where she was like, "That's a number I'm not happy with," or something. I was just like, "Yeah, that's not us. That's not. I see what you're going for, but that's not how we talk." And then in the moment when the young lady was talking to her dad about Alice, I think, when he was sitting in a chair at his desk, this guy that was about to shoot Alice at the end of the episode or whatever, she like hugged him and they were like sad together. It was like a moment. I didn't believe that moment whatsoever. I was like, nah, I'm not convinced. But that moment, to their credit, that moment came off to me the same way the moments with the fake black canary and her dad used to come off. Like Laurel. Oh, I hate Laurel. I still hate Laurel. The way Laurel and her dad used to have that bad chemistry is the same chemistry I felt here. So it's not just Batwoman, but once again,
wait, you didn't like Laurel and her dad in Arrow?
Nah, I always thought, and this is another thing that makes me mad about Legends. I think whatchamacallit, the girl from Legends, the original Canary, is a better actress than Laurel. I would swap them two. Put the better actress with Arrow and put the bad actress on Legends. All right, like I'd never liked Laurel. And then all the buckles on the suit, it was just you're bringing back bad memories.
You brought them up. You brought it up. I was just asking a question.
But once again, all of those things that I brought up, none of them have to do with Javicia. She ain't hiring writers. She's not hiring stunt performers. She's not changing how the sets are lit, how much money they spend on the episodes. She's not in charge of any of that.
She's the lead, but she ain't in charge. It's like
she's not in charge of any of that.
She's not a producer. And maybe if there's a season 3 or a season 4, maybe she'll get a producer credit, and maybe she'll be able to like flex a little bit more of her power on set and be like, no, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We gotta get a black woman doing the hair and makeup. We have to fix the lighting because I'm black, and so there's a special way to light my skin to make sure that I'm coming across vibrant and not drab. But that's a whole other thing. If that's like what the palette of the cinematographer is going for, it's a whole different conversation that I don't want to bring into it. But like, there's a lot of things to it. But I think, and I was gonna say, they deleted the tweet.
Oh, they did,
and they reposted it, and they took the headline, and reposted it. But I was like, oh, because I went to go check the comments, and I was like, I wanted to see like, keep an eye on what the sentiment was, and they deleted. Like even Leslie Ann Brandt from Lucifer, who plays Maze on Lucifer, was like, yeah, this is wrong.
Oh, she came in and said something?
Yo, she didn't quote tweet it. She went on her account and was like, our first 4 episodes of Lucifer, we were finding our tone. Many didn't like our show. Many did. It is unfair to do what the rap has down with that god awful headline. At Tony Maglio knew exactly the message he was sending. At Javicia Leslie, I'm so happy to see your face all over town with a black clap. I was like,
see, now I will say, I know what she's talking about because as someone who loves Lucifer now, I was able to binge it on Netflix. I didn't watch it from the beginning. When it came out, I wasn't watching it. The first 3 episodes, it's a chore. But after the first 3 episodes, I did get into it. So I know what she's talking about. But you do, to a certain degree, you do have to find your tone. You know what I'm saying? You got to fit. Because I remember when I was first watching Lucifer, when I watched the first episode, I messaged one of my friends like, yo, man, you told me Lucifer was good. It's on Netflix. I just watched the first episode. He was like, stick with it. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And
same thing of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's right. Oh, yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Whew. All right, here's the thing. Like, throughout season 1, just get that out of there. All right, but season 2, then I'm like, word.
I will say, throw out most of season 1.
Oh yeah, towards the end of season 1, it starts getting good.
Right, it's like
the last 5 episodes or whatever of season 1.
That last episode, you're like, oh, that's what they're going for.
You're like, okay, cool. I can rock with this.
Right. So like, and like, to be honest, it's like I've seen worst debuts in a comic book or a TV film role.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Had in this episode, it felt like, and I was reading an article. I think it was like from Gizmodo, where they were like comparing the approaches of the 2 actresses, and they were like, whereas Ruby Rose felt like she was a jock in the suit, it feels like, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was like, whereas Ruby felt like she was a jock in the suit, it feels like Javicia has an accurate and an important role for wanting the suit and being in the suit, which is like already says what you need to say about their approaches to the character.
Yeah, and I will say for Ruby Rose, I was never sold on her as an actress in the first place. I think she's someone who has a very unique look, but beyond that, doesn't really deliver for me. But when I saw the trailer for season 1, I was like, yo, man, this joint looks like, and I think I said it in an episode that I think DC CW is spreading themselves too thin. Because I was like, this thing looks cheap. And then after watching because of course, we were all, well, not we all, but many of us were there at, the beginning of Arrow and Flash. So we know the money they can spend. You know what I'm saying? So like, when I saw that trailer, I was like, first thing, this looks kind of cheap. Two, I already didn't like the actress in the first place, like not for a lead at least. So I was like, I'm gonna skip out. And then after the first 2 episodes came, and I saw people bashing it, I was like, yeah, maybe I dodged the bullet. But I wanted to come through and support the second season and see what Javicia was going, what it was going to be like. If there was going to be a new tone, a new energy around it, and it looks like we're carrying a lot of baggage from season 1 because we spent the whole episode being like, Kate is a hero. Don't forget that Kate is so amazing. Kate is special. Kate is unique. I'm like, can we have an episode with Ryan? Can we do that, please?
See, but I think. But
I understand.
They had to do that. They had to do that.
I know.
It's like like I think we were talking about this in the Twitter DMs where it's like you were like the dialogue was a little iffy, but it's like, yeah, it might have been iffy, but they had to do that because if they would have been like, okay, cool, Kane's
like
dead.
She dead, peace.
There would have been so many headlines the next day being like, yo, the way they did Kate,
Batwoman pretends that Kate doesn't exist.
It's like the headlines and a lot of the professional community would have been like, yo, the way that you did her character was wrong. No matter how she did you on set, the way that y'all did her in the episode was wrong. If that's what was there gonna happen. So like that's where I think it's like having to be able to see both sides of an argument is very important, especially in a context like this, because it's never happened before. So
and that's why I'm like, I understand that's what they got to do, but that baggage is still holding down what Javicia's Batwoman could be, and to act as if Javicia had the same chance as Ruby does is completely asinine.
Yeah.
It's like, my dude, we got a whole season worth of storyline that we have to try to wrap up in this one episode, so that she can go off fresh. And we're up against Sunday Night Football in the playoffs, not in, not in the playoffs, not in like the beginnings of the regular season. Like, October 6th, you're like, 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, maybe? Like, you might be like 1 weekend. It's like, I'm trying to remember when preseason ends. But anyway, you're pretty close to the beginning of the season. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you're talking about 2 different times in the NFL. Like, dude, man, stop it. So this whole idea of like, I don't know, like this whole weird idea of like, oh, we're just gonna straight up compare them. It's like, come on, man, you ain't fooling nobody. But shouts to old girl from Lucifer. I can't think of her real name now.
Leslie Ann Brandt.
Who?
Leslie Ann Brandt.
Oh, Leslie Ann Brandt. Thank you. Because Lucifer's a dope show. Love me some Lucifer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And she's right. The first couple episodes, it's gotta get through them to get into it.
Yeah.
But I enjoy the show a whole lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm waiting around for the end of that. I'm mad that y'all tried to break up that last season. You know what I'm saying? But I'm, you know what I'm saying? Look, we here now. But what they did to Javicia was straight wrong. I'm glad they deleted the tweet, but people, Arcatron ain't here today. He's not here. Nah. But so when it comes, did I like last night's episode? In general, no. But those weren't Javicia's problems. Those were essentially Greg Berlanti's CW issues. Like the way the show is done. Like, because don't forget, what was it? Remember when Arrow tried to like tackle social issues and we were like, hey, you're not equipped. Remember they had the gun violence episode, and then they were like, next year we're gonna do a BLM episode, and we were like, no. We're like, don't do it. Look, we love you, Arrow. Don't do it. Because that gun violence episode, it was like, yeah, y'all aren't equipped to do, y'all just say y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't really ready. Yeah,
it's cool to take a risk, but it's like it has to be a calculated risk. It's like
yeah,
you can't just be out there doing it to straight up do it and make a statement, right? It's cool that want to throw your support behind gun control, whatever, Black Lives Matter, cool. But it has to be in your DNA. And that's where it's like, I think now Batwoman can have those conversations given if they bring in like Black staff writers to actually talk about the issues that plague the Black community, right?
Yeah, because they have at least one Black woman writer, but we don't know how much pull or sway she actually has in the writing room. Big shout out to Blurdish in the house. Big shout out to Token, Tyler Bennett in the spot. Man.
And I mean, in the DNA, it has to be in the backbone. It has to be like, it would be weird if Arrow was like, oh, suddenly when they were on, we're going to cast a Black woman as the lead and we're going to do all this stuff. And that's where it gets like virtue signaling, where it's like, you're doing it because you feel like you have to do it rather than actually being a reason for actually wanting to take that story on. Right?
And like patting yourself on the back while you do it. Exactly. Like that kind of thing. It has
to be like, as we say in the industry, it has to be in the DNA of the story and the storyline, right? So yeah, I just went there, but
the
like
DNA.
But like that's one thing where it's like, you know, that's why it didn't really work for Arrow, because Arrow season 1, you had your vigilante up here being like, oh, you failed this city. It shouldn't do Arrow. It's just being dropping bodies all over Star City. It's like, you can't
killing mad people.
You can't. It'd just be like, he'd be like, yo, you know my father. You failed this city. Just like bop. It was just like killing people left and right. It's like, you can't go from that as your first season to being like, oh wait, we're gonna do a gun control episode, right? That's what I'm talking about being in the DNA, right? But that is just my personal take on it. You know what I mean?
Word. And shouts to Blurdish, they said the same thing. He said they hate gun violence while Arrow shoot people to death.
I mean, thank you. It's like, that's
what exactly, up, Kid Heart?
That's exactly the point. But it's like, so you have it, and it's like, I will say, when we're having Javicia as Batwoman, I feel like when they got to the end episode, okay, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen last night's episode of Batwoman. All right, if you guys mute it. So when they got to the end, when they had the kryptonite bullet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's a cool way to get me interested in the story.
Yeah, because now, to see how that works out.
Right. Like, you know, I want to see how that's going to go. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that arc is going to develop, right?
Shouts to Chasen. Shouts to Chasen, or I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, said, what I adored this episode. Tell us your favorite part of this episode. Let us know. I want to know your favorite part. I'm interested. And Kid Heart said, la la la, I'm not listening.
But that's what was necessary. But
no, Blurdish said, should I even watch Batwoman? She fine, but other than that, other than photo shoots, should I care?
Okay, here's what I'm gonna say, and
here's why you should care.
Go ahead.
The kryptonite part we talked about at the end, and also to stick it to the man, because now I'm mad. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm mad. I want this show to succeed, even if I'm not super sold on the show. I still want it to succeed because I'm mad now because Tony Maglio, whatever his name is, came after our girl. All right, you know what I'm saying? Don't be coming after our people.
Tony, the rap too, but like,
oh yeah, the rap too. The rap been whack though. So I'm the rap whack, Tony whack. They both whack.
That, and we should support it because we have a Black woman. We have a Black woman.
Yep.
Who is positive, who is forward thinking, who is progressive. That is our Batwoman now. So that's why we should watch. And also, I think you should watch because I think here's what I was gonna say. If you didn't like Batwoman season 1, there might not be a lot for you here. But if you want to see a different take on the Batwoman character, that's why you should watch it too. Like Ryan's backstory is, for me, and this is Chasen just said this, but like Ryan's backstory to me is like a lot more informative, a lot more impactful than, oh wait, Kate Kane and Alice are sisters. It's a lot more impactful and a lot more personal.
Yeah.
The
Them
sister
being
thing,
because I noticed that because since I
this is
didn't watch
like
anything from season 1, seeing that I was like, oh, they're sisters. All right, well, okay, like,
right.
so you still running around, like,
Right.
like, does she not know where you live?
Right, exactly. Exactly. So that's the thing. It's like, so that's why I'm like, that's why you should watch, because it's a different spin on Batwoman.
Yeah.
If
And shouts to
don't
Mr.
like
Black Culture. Nice to see you.
Yeah. I would say, like, if you didn't like season 1, then you might not like season 2. At least how the season is shaping so far. But I think the fact that you have Sophia being the villain this season, you're actually gonna see her. We've already casted her. EW already dropped looks about her. I'm like, okay, cool. So
all right.
The way that they dropped that, like, again, spoilers if you haven't watched last night's episode, the paper plane while Alice was walking through the sewer came in and it was like, oh wait, so what you're saying is Sophia killed Kate Kane. Like, that's a very interesting way to be like, oh, okay. So it wasn't
that's why you can't find the body.
Right. So like that's really interesting. So that's why you should watch it, because I think it's gonna be a little different.
Blurdy said, I guess I'll put it on DVR to record. Other than that, shoulder shrug. Yeah, I outlined my reasons why I don't like, I didn't like the premiere, but none of those reasons had to do with Javicia. And the way the rap went after Javicia was straight wrong. It was racist. They knew it was wrong, and that's why they pulled the tweet. But guess what? Somebody already screenshotted that piece. So you done, son. You done. You know what I'm saying? You done, son. Like,
I wonder if anybody posted that screenshot.
Like, man, the rap straight, they're trashy. I'll say that. They whack for that. But yeah, I think we've exhausted the demons. I think, unless he said something else stupid.
No.
All right, cool. Because like that dude was tripping for a second. Like.
I mean, I'm looking at the rap mentions. I'm not looking at his right now.
I'm pretty sure his mentions are like.
Like, you can see someone's mention. Just tag, if you just go in and like take their just take and see like what's going on.
As a matter of fact, let me see what the rap's new tweet is before we bounce.
I mean, it's literally a headline of that.
Oh, it's just a headline now.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Javicia Leslie's. Look, now they still put her. They just didn't tag her.
They didn't tag her.
They still put her name in the tweet. Javicia Leslie's Batwoman debut fell far short of Ruby Rose's a year ago, without any context, making it seem like it's all her. Like, y'all still whack. Like, y'all try to how you try to clean it up and still be whack. Like,
wait, so he did respond to someone. He says, I'm totally fine being added, criticized, and engaging in reasonable debate. I'm not cool being labeled a racist by someone with a large following because I reported a ratings decline about a show whose lead role was recast. You tell me which is worse.
Look, You didn't report. You didn't report. Here's the thing. This is. I'm gonna break this down because this leads into.
Go ahead.
Covert racist will try to prove they're not racist by making a hyper-specific diversionary argument without context. So what they'll say is, oh, well, I'm not racist because all I did is write an article about ratings. And it's like, well, yes, you did mention ratings in the headline and in the article. But the way you position said ratings is as if the ratings were strictly because of Ruby Rose and strictly because of Javicia, without any other context. So Javicia just, all right, you know what I'm saying? She's a new actress. Oh, let's just throw her on the bus. She's the problem for everything. While Ruby Rose was literally a welfare baby of the Arrowverse. Let's be for real. Homegirl had all kinds of guest spots, had a crossover, all that, to help her show out. What Javicia get?
Oh,
so
and
I'm tired.
And the crossover isn't happening. The crossover between Superman and Lois and Batwoman isn't happening anymore.
Oh wow, interesting. So the crossover we were going to get to help Javicia's show, now it don't exist no more. Interesting. How we do all kinds of stuff to collab and help out the white woman's show. Now the black woman's show can't nobody get no help.
And I think there's a degree of that, but I also think it's because of COVID. Like COVID on set, dude. COVID has messed up sets left and right. Like their shows got canceled. Like Netflix canceled a couple of their shows because of COVID. They were like, "Oh, it's gonna cost too much. Straight up cancel it." Right? And these weren't black shows. They were just like popular shows that had it. And so it's like,
yeah, like man, look, it's annoying how covert racists try to act like we stupid. Like, yeah, it's my bad. Shouts out to Tyler Bennett with the super chat. That's right, church. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to help y'all out. So when they come with these dumb responses, you can be like, that's not what you did though. You didn't bring up the fact that we're up against Sunday night football that is there's literally looking at the playoffs. I mean, literally looking at the Super Bowl in like 2 days, basically. I mean, it's not really 2 days, but the Super Bowl is right around the corner. So, I mean, as opposed to someone who went up against Sunday Night Football at the beginning of the season where nobody really cares. Let's be honest. People that love football are watching like college football, NFL, Sunday, Monday, and Thursday and stuff. But for the most part, people don't really tune in until the playoffs. And she's going up against playoff football on a Sunday night. Stop it. It's not the same as what Ruby Rose did. Also, Ruby Rose was a welfare baby of the Arrowverse universe, and had a fresh slate. Not the baggage of a show that had already been run into the ground. Like, stop it, Tony. Stop it.
I mean, it's touchy, man. And like, I think, and this is why I think a lot of people are bugged. One, because she's a black woman, like shouldn't be slandering a black woman in any context. And two, it's also like tagging her is wrong. Comparing her to Ruby, comparing the ratings drop to her and Ruby is a different thing. It's one thing for a journalist or us to compare their approaches to the role on a factual basis, not including the race, but just talking about the storyline and their approach to the role and who the character of Kate Kane and Ryan Wilder are. That is one thing. Yep. When you're taking it and being like, oh, the rating drop is being attributed to her because, oh, wait, she's a new character, the show has baggage. Oh, and also because, let's be honest, even though that you're not saying it, there is a part of racism or a racial element in there, even though they might be well-meaning. And that's the thing. It's like, whereas you have to really watch what you say on Twitter, because if not, Twitter's going to come and clap at you and be like, are you crazy for putting this kind of language out into the universe?
Yep.
Or the spirit, I'll say.
Someone put a perfect example up. Live ratings matter now? I don't think so. Most people use apps, for example, the CW app. Yep. I watched it on the CW app.
I mean, I did too.
Technically, I watched the show on the day that it came out, but I didn't watch it live.
I mean, I was working last night when it came on, so I had no choice but to watch it, right? So it's like, but also like they still, Nielsen ratings are still a thing, but now they have Live 3 and Live 7. So even though that the on-air ratings might be bad, wait to see how it goes on DVR and on the streaming app to see, okay, maybe there's something there. Maybe they'll continue. Maybe there'll be a little lift there. Because now you have to factor in digital. And you have to factor DVR. So it's like, you can't just be like, oh, the ratings declined. And I'm like, everything got smashed. Everything got smashed against football last night. It wasn't just Javicia and Batwoman. Everything got smashed. So I think, and that's the piece of context that their article is missing.
And y'all can retweet my tweet if y'all feel so inclined. I just put it in the chat.
You put a tweet up there? Oh, you said, what did we learn today? That the Rap and Tony Maglio will shape black people if they have the chance. See, you better than me. I ain't gotta say a word. But
I know. That's why I said you ain't gotta do it.
No, you better.
What's up, Dre? Nice to see you. Oh man. But with that said, guys, we have exercised and exhausted the demons. You know what I'm saying? We have done all we can do. So before we get out of here, I'd like to introduce y'all once again, International Man of Mystery. You know him, you love him, Clement Bryant, right over here.
I was about to say, I had to stop those lies. But at Twitter and Instagram, at Clement Bryant, follow me. I promise I'm not as lit. I'm not as lit as I am on here. I'm literally pretty chill.
gotta stay pretty chill.
I gotta stay chill.
Gotta kick it. So guys, NERDSoul, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all them places. YouTube is the hub. Hit the thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. Hit the thumbs down if you don't. But if you don't, I'm gonna send Tony Maglio after you. All right, he's gonna write a bad article.
Okay,
and he's gonna hide behind the rap in like some kind of messed up, hyper specific, non-conceptual reason for doing so. Also, podcasts if you want to listen. Spotify for that music. Vulcan said I saw it live last night. The first episode was trash. Oh man, you know what I'm saying? So with that said, we're gonna leave y'all with ARCKATRON. He's dope, built the space bridge, and he got them beats. So from us, you were just saying thanks for coming through and peace.
Peace.
And we out. Future sounds. Yeah.